Hey guys, this is Jessica with Whispers of Grace Healing. I am here at the beach getting my grounding on, and I was really compelled to speak again. So much has been coming out lately. I hope everyone can hear me okay. So, this was my experience from this morning, okay? Yesterday, I was reaching out to a good friend of mine, Haven, who hey Sherry, I met her, and hey Ellie, I had an instant connection with this girl. I knew her from past lives, and she was like my immediate soul sister, right? So, we used to work together at the gym too, and when she left and then I left, and we just haven't been hanging out as much as we used to, but she invited me over for a breakfast date this morning, and I went to go see her and her new little she actually started dedicating her purpose and doing her work that she's meant to do, like we are, and both of us have just dove right in and decided to put in all our time and effort into our metaphysical business. So she's doing Reiki work and all that here in Mount Pleasant, and I decided to go check out her shop and get some stuff done because we've been doing a lot of work on the house and stuff like that, but my tendinitis has been acting up quite a bit, and it's been years. I mean, probably close to a decade since my tendinitis has been acting up really, really bad. And I figured it was due to the housework and whatnot, but I really haven't been doing too much of the tedious work, but it's becoming really, really painful. So I asked her to do some Reiki on me. Hey, Michelle, and whatever she could pick up, because she's very talented. She has a lot of different abilities, just like I do, and I really trust her. So we decided to go to her shop, which I'm telling y'all, listen, hey Cecilia, one day, like she has a jade and tourmaline mat that has infrared heat, and I mean, it does cost anywhere between $1,200 and $1,700, but one day, guys, one day I'm going to get me one of them mats. It was amazing. And I was just hoping that I could release some of this energy that's been built up. But what ended up coming out was very interesting, and we didn't even really talk about it until afterwards when we were comparing notes. And this is why I am talking about this, because a lot of people don't realize, and I'm a firm believer that energy blockages can manifest in physical form, and it's not just because we're rough on our bodies and whatever the case may be, blah blah blah, but also a firm believer in not owning or accepting illness. When we say we are sick, of course we're going to feel sick. When we accept that our bodies are breaking down, of course they're going to get worse, right? So I'm a digger, y'all know that. So she was doing Reiki on me, and it's one of those things, and I've been completely honest with y'all, and I'm gonna keep doing it too. It's vulnerable shit, so just bear with me here. But there has been a theme in my life, okay, where, and I'm leaving it here. I'm leaving it right here on this beach. This is not coming with me anymore. I do not accept this as my reality, but it is something that I have noticed a pattern in my single relationship. Anyone that has meant something to me, I have been cheated on. They have always, sought solace elsewhere besides our relationship. And, I even had someone say, well, what are you doing wrong? Fuck that. I didn't do anything wrong. I gave them everything they needed, and they knew it, because they wouldn't still be in love with me or respect me after all these years, or still try to be in my life at some point or another if I was not completely up to par in their book. So that's on them, not on me, and I will not accept that. But another theme that I have noticed is some of my best friends, okay? Some of my best friends. I had a friend in high school. We were super, super close. And we were probably best friends for like 8 or 9 years or something like that. And she was going through this really hard phase in life where she was just bouncing from boyfriend to boyfriend. And listen, I can't say anything because I did it before too. And, I was trying to break outside of that habit, and I had a hard time trusting anyone that came into her life because the guy before this was a complete douchebag, and completely disrespected her and her child. And I was just like, I was fed up with it. And so, of course, I was very protective when this guy came in, and I didn't really want to give him a chance, but he seemed okay, right? So over, the course of their relationship, we ended up becoming closer. And I've always gotten along with guys. I've always been a very masculine energy, where I relate more to men than I have women my entire life. So where men come from when I'm not in a relationship with them. On a friend level, totally get it, right? So relationships, and I get it because I've been there, but there came a point in her life, in our relationship, where she was going downhill really bad. I mean, she was very addicted to Adderall, and she was neglecting her responsibilities as a mother, and like chasing this guy around, and she really started distancing herself from me. And I was getting really worried about her because she dropped a ton of weight. I caught her lying to me all the time, and she was always coming up with excuses for not coming around when she said she would, and that kind of thing. So I called her boyfriend one day because we were close. I mean, we had known each other for years at this point, and talking one day, and she called, and I mean, I get it, but her response was just totally shit, right? So he told her that I was there talking to him, but I guess since he didn't hear his notification go off, and he didn't respond quick enough, we were fucking around. Listen, after being cheated on so many times, I would never play that fucking game, okay? I have never, ever even thought about messing around with a friend's man, okay? I've been cheated on way too many times to even go near that, and I can tell you right now, if I ever thought that my best friend's man was going to make a move on me, I would be calling that shit out in a heartbeat, you know what I'm saying? I'd be letting them know, like, we leaving right now, you know what I'm saying? Get your shit, we going. So probably would have whooped his ass up and down that street anyway. So regardless, she got pissed off at me, okay? She did not take it out on him. She did not take it out on herself. She took it right out on me and started making up all this shit. So she went around to all her little party friends, and that was the problem. I wasn't a party friend. So she distanced herself from me and started, hanging out with the wrong crowd, that kind of shit. And people who really, enabled her a lot. Well, then all of a sudden I became a homewrecker. And this was years ago, y'all. And I mean, she did. She was talking mad shit about me, and no matter what I tried to do, to talk to her, to, calm the situation down, to tell her, like, look, we are worried about you, and you're to the point where we almost physically fought over this shit because she just kept poking the bear, man, poking the bear. Well, we quit being friends after that, and a lot more stuff went down that I won't go into, but that is one instance where that happened in my life. And then recently too, with my best friend, a theme that I see, but she asked me to help her with her and her twin situation, and there was one instance where, after she met my twin, she even was like, oh, well, I thought he was hot, my twin wasn't paying me no attention, so I thought maybe, whatevs. And it didn't bother me a damn bit, because I know my motherfucker hot, right? It was the same thing I used to say about my ex-husband. I knew he was good looking, so don't get me wrong. You can't tell me that he ugly, I know you lying. But she ended up getting a little, I don't want to say jealous, but it was a little uneasy. And she was uneasy because, we were together. Like, me and her were in the same house, and he drove by, saw her car wasn't there, and he ended up calling me to see where we were at. So she got upset, and she even said at one point, well, maybe you're supposed to be with him and I'm supposed to be with yours. And I was like, listen, let me make this really clear. Even though your guy's good looking, never looked at him like that, and I never will. That I know he is meant for you, and I would never tread on that territory, so let's get that straight right now. We are not going into this. So it's kind of a theme that I've noticed. So just kind of giving y'all a backstory. But then when I was in, my tendonitis has been acting up for like almost a week now. To the point where I can't even do my yoga, which really upsets me. And we get into this session, and I'm, like totally going into it, and all this stuff with my best friend started coming up, and I'm like, oh my God, like making me really uncomfortable, to the point where it was almost making me feel as if these wounds were coming up for her again, that she was thinking like I was trying to move on her man or something, which I know isn't true, but it was just a fear that was coming up. And then all of a sudden I start feeling energy from like past life, and my friend Haven was immediately picking up on stuff with my hands, and she felt like I had been beaten in a former life, like with like wood switches and shit. And I found it very interesting when we started, putting our notes together, because what I was getting is that there was someone in a former life, whether he was of stature or not, she picked that up. I don't know. I didn't really pick up on who it was, which we'll have to go deeper into that one day. But I picked up that there was someone who basically I was forbidden. We were in, or it was just a situation that was completely uncalled for, and he tried to make a move on me, and I denied it. Well, of course, that hurt his fucking ego, so he ended up falsely accusing me. He falsely accused me of doing something with him when I didn't, and I ended up getting beaten over this. So it actually started affecting me physically in this life, which I have read that in one of Sylvia Brown's books. I believe it was Sylvia Brown, talking about, because she was talking about the point of entry, and I wonder if that's the soul's perfection. A lot of that information's been coming up for me, but this is why regression is so important, y'all. Okay, yes, and again, until you realize what it is that is actually hindering the process, or that is, if you see patterns like this in your life, okay, again, I have been cheated on in every fucking relation, and I thought it was due to my my lack of self-worth and the lack of self-love, which I'm sure it did have to do with that, but it goes so much deeper than that too. And then after having a second friend of mine like kind of start accusing me of trying to move in on their man and shit, like what? I have never in my life thought about doing anything like that. Anyone who like really knows me, and once they get past their fear, they know that I would never do anything like that. But it's just like, how is this a theme, right? Like, this is a constant repeating pattern. And then when I go in there today and she's like, yeah, I mean, I almost feel like this was from Egyptian time. There's definitely Egyptian culture that's tied to this. And I see like these switches made out of wood and your hands are bandaged. And, I mean, we were sitting there talking about it, and between the jade and tourmaline table and, doing the Reiki work, like, I mean, even her deceased mother came in and was helping with the process. I felt her touch my head way before Haven even got close to me. And, it was just a beautiful, magical experience. But a lot of information came up, and it really makes you question how many ailments, how many patterns in our life are repeating due to karmic cycles that have not been broken, right? When it comes to fear, when it comes to lust, when it comes to jealousy, patterns in our relationships, our fear of love and receiving and, abundance and all this stuff, it's all things that we have to break, guys. And until we do the work, until we bring that awareness to self and to what's really going on, and we can actually look at ourselves and say, yeah, I understand there are situations that I could have done that differently, or, whatever the case may be, but my intentions have always been pure. Like, I didn't understand, and now I do. And it has nothing to do with me. It has to do with these energetic cords, which I find very interesting because, I'm pretty sure that me and my best friend, we both had a past life in Egypt. Brings Egypt up now, which I wasn't thinking about that before, but now it definitely makes sense. So now I can go and tell my best friend later that's really where a lot of this bullshit's coming from, that it doesn't have anything to do with this life. It's past memories that are coming up. And maybe her twin did accuse me in a former life, or maybe someone did accuse me of that shit, and it caused her to think like, well, what if she did that to me or something like that. I don't know. But one day I'll be doing a full session of going in and really digging deeper into that life and figuring out like what actually happened, so I can fully release it. Because even though like my tendonitis wasn't hurting at the moment, like we were talking about everything, it did start acting up again before I even left the building. So it's definitely something that I'm gonna have to dig deeper into and fully release, which again, sometimes it's not just as easy as saying I release you and cutting those cords, right? It's about actually going in and facing those fears, okay? And until you're ready or willing to face those fears, you will not release yourself of that pain. Well, you know what? No more. I am a firm believer, and I was saying it this morning, like, this is my life. This lifetime is my time to really break all these damn cycles and to move forward into my purpose and get all of this shit out on the table. And I'm done playing this damn karmic wheel, you know what I'm saying? So I hope that all of you find some sort of comfort in knowing that any patterns of fear or pain or illness and these kind of things that you see reoccurring in your life, there are things deeper under the surface that you are not aware of. And if you need help digging into those, and listen, no matter what, I mean, y'all know me, I do a lot of this work on my own, but sometimes we need that extra help. And sometimes we need that hand to help us through the process, and it's okay to ask for help. I want you to know that it is okay to ask for help, no matter how deep into the journey you are. Just don't rely on anyone else to give you those answers. That's my point, okay? You should always trust your own understanding, but if you feel blocked on anything, then reach out for help. And there are people like me who are more than willing to help you uncover those truths so that you can live to your fullest potential, okay? Because we want you to, Spirit wants you to, and we want you to uncover your truth so that you can really see that these patterns do not serve you anymore. You do not have to hold on to any of this, and you can rewrite your story. You can rewrite your story however you choose to, but you have to be brave enough to uncover those truths and allow it to come to the surface so it can be transmuted back into love. And and that's probably why I have a lot of issues with men and why I have a lot of trust issues with men. I even thought about my stepdad this morning. I've been giving him a lot of shit, about his attitude lately, but in reality, I have not been showing him enough love and support. So when I go home, I'm going to give that man a big old hug and let him know just how much I appreciate him and all the work that he does to provide for our family. And over 20 years, he didn't have to step up to the plate like he did, but he did, and he chose our family. He chose us, and even with the crazy shit that we have been through and my family has done to him, he keeps choosing us over and over again. So mad respect for him and the way that he showed up in my life and my mother's. So with that being said, I'm going to leave it right there, but just know that you are not alone and you are not crazy, and there are definitely things that we all need to be aware of, and it's okay. We're all going through the same thing, guys. So I love y'all, and I hope that you have a wonderful day. I'm sitting here laying on the beach, and even though it's about to rain, I'm still enjoying myself. So y'all have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to all of you soon. Bye, guys.